Hey guys, Melody here. I'm so excited to have you join me because I bought a lot of books this summer. So I got some at a book festival, I got some through used book dealers, I got some from Books a Million, some from my indie bookstore. So I have a whole lot of books. I think there's more than 20 here. So join me as I go over them and see if these are ones you want to add to your TBR. All right, guys. So, again, these were purchased throughout the summer, and I've read some of them already because I was so excited I couldn't wait, and others I hope to read in the near future. So, let's go over the first one. So, again, if you've been watching my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of middle grade, and I have found Ellie Swartz, and I love her writing, and this is on the same, or no, not on the same page, it's just same page. And this says, when books become battlegrounds, friendships are tested. So this book, same page, is about the two girls and they are trying to fight the book ban in their school. Again, this is middle grade. I'm really excited for this one. Next is a book I had never heard of before, and it's called Wranglestone. And this cover is absolutely beautiful. It's by Darren Carlton, and it's the the cat's knocking books off the bed. The islands of Lake Wranglestone are a safe haven in a world filled with the restless dead. But as the lake freezes over, there's nothing to stop them from crossing the ice. And it says zombie thrills combined with an achingly tender gay love story. So I thought this sounded really cute. Next is a thriller, and this is by Lucy Martin. It's called The Choice. It says, a stolen child, a missing woman, you can only save one. So I thought this sounded really good. Next is by an author you guys have probably heard of, but I had never heard of this series. And this is book one, and it says, Death is Her Destiny. This is called The Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker. And it says, half Reaper, half... I don't know what that word is, but basically half samurai, half reaper, and a soul collector. So this is a YA fantasy, so I'm looking forward to this one. Next is a YA thriller, and the only YA thrillers I seem to like anymore are by Natasha Preston, so I was excited to get a very inexpensive copy of this, and this is called The Haunting. I plan on reading this in the fall. It says, haunted by the past, terrified of the present. Penny knows she must forget about her ex, Nash, ever since his father was revealed as a brutal serial killer who traumatized their small town last Halloween. Penny's parents have forbidden her from having anything to do with Nash or his family. It's hard not to think of him, but she's trying. That stops when she goes shopping with friends for a costume. What she finds instead is ripped from a horror movie. Someone from school bleeding out on the floor of the dressing room, stabbed. I definitely plan on reading this one this Halloween. And one that if I don't get to in the month of August, I will sadly wait till next year to read, but I've heard such good things about it. And that is Till Summer Do Us Part, and this is by Megan Quinn. I have only read one other book by her, and I really enjoyed it, and I picked this up at TJ Maxx of all places. And like I said, I've heard really good things about this book, but I always pick up a book and read the first page or the first sentence or two in the story before I decide to buy it. And the first few sentences in this, if children are in the room, please no foul language is coming. But it says, fuck off, asshole. No, you fuck off. Eat shit and rot. And then it says, God, I love New York City. There's nothing better than waiting for your breakfast burrito at the corner bodega and witnessing a fight almost break out between a taxi driver and a Postmates runner on a motorbike. Truly chef's kiss. So again, I am really looking forward to. I hope I can read this in August. If not, this will be the first book I read next summer. The next one is it's got beautiful sprayed edges, if you guys can see that. I'm trying to hide my face so you can, but it is called Our Wicked Gifts by Catherine Foxfield, and it says, Family is hell. The Winters are rich, powerful, and cursed. I should know, they're my family. But when the boy we banished to hell comes back for revenge, he turns the whole world upside down. And now I have to decide, do I betray my family for love or become the worst of them all? So again, this sounds like a really good time. Another fantasy I picked up is Between Tides and Thunder by Lena Kazik. Everybody's been talking about this. Sorry, I'm trying to get the glare off of here, but let me try if I move it on this side. So everybody's been talking about this. She was raised to hate him. Now she shares his bed. Princess Maya of Tundran. I am so bad with fantasy words, but she isn't allowed to want. Not freedom, not love, not even her future. Instead, she spent her life healing others' pain and swallowing her own. But when her father strikes a fragile alliance with enemy kingdom to crush a rising rebellion, Maya is bartered into marriage she didn't choose for a crown she doesn't want. She expects a prince. She gets the Dark Commander. So there's a companion novel. This is her perspective, and I believe the blue cover is the male main character's perspective, but I only purchased this book and I figured we'd see how this one goes. The next book I got at the Dollar Tree, and this is The Resort, and this by Sarah Oaks. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. And it says, "Welcome to paradise. We hope you survive your stay. There are 3 rules to following vacation at the famous Koh Sang Resort. Leave the past behind. Always be careful who you trust. If someone discovers who you really are, run." So this sounds like a really good time. Next are 2 books that I got at the Literary Book Festival in Florida earlier this summer, and it is called Memoir of a Mangled Mind, and this is by Stephen Simmons Shelton. And I met the author, really interesting. So essentially, he was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. And this is his memoir about that experience and about how he went to law school, became a lawyer at a prestigious large city law firm. Yet his dissociative identity, right? Yeah. His other identities were actually committing crimes, not heinous, violent crimes, but they were committing crimes. And he talks about how all of this likely stemmed from the childhood abuse he experienced, but very interesting gentleman to talk to. And he sold me, so I picked up a copy of his memoir. The other book I got at the Literary Book Festival was Rise of the Unbroken, book 1 of the Dark Ascendant trilogy. And this is by F.J. Sanchez. And again, this is a local Florida author, if I'm not mistaken. And this is about an angel that is banished when the dark side takes over. And his wife is kidnapped, and he's trying to get his wife back, but if he fights too obviously, they're going to know that he's a fallen angel. And if he doesn't, then it's a whole thing. The author did an excellent job of explaining it, and he sold me on it, but I am not really good at giving. I'll just tell you if I liked it or not when I'm finished reading it. And I keep dropping books, sorry. Another dollar store find out of all places was The Woman with the Knife, and this is translated fiction. I'm not sure. Hold on, let me see if I can. Yeah. So this is translated from South Korean, and it says it's an international bestseller. It says the kinetic story of a 65-year-old female assassin who faces an unexpected threat in the twilight of her career. An English language debut from an award-winning South Korean author. So it's a short book. I figured for $1.50, I might as well give it a try. All right, now onto some romance that I've picked up recently. I got Bad Publicity, and this is by Bianca Gillum. and it says, two rivals, 1 month on tour, what could go wrong? When Andy lands her dream job as a senior book publicist, she's ready to take the world of New York publishing by storm, until her first day when she discovers that the biggest author is Jack Carlson, the same Jack who ruined her life at university, whom she hasn't spoken to in over 5 years, who is not only still infuriatingly hot, but also incredibly successful, and whose campaign she definitely cannot mess up if she wants to keep her job. So this sounds like it's going to be a cute rom-com. Another romance that I picked up, everybody talked about it for the past few years, and I had FOMO and just had to pick it up when I saw it on sale really cheap. And that is Picking Daisies on Sunday. It was the hand-trembling, heart-thumping kind of love that you weren't supposed to feel when you looked at your best friend. But it all ended when Levi didn't feel the same way, and Daisy vowed to never see him again. 4 years later, there he is in a crowded West Village bar, just as perfect as ever. Maybe it's the lighting or the way his hair curls above his brow, but when he asks her to be his fake girlfriend for his sister's wedding, she can't bring herself to say no. But with old feelings resurfacing at every stage and romantic interaction and stolen glance, she begins to wonder if this time she should have protected her heart. So again, I've heard really good things about this. I'm excited to get into this. I love friends to lovers. It's just really sweet. So I'm excited for this one. And then I got this beautiful Heart's Landing, and this is by Melanie Harlow. And I love the beautiful sprayed edges here. It's just so pretty. And again, Heart's Landing, it says, 4 friends make a promise to live one night like it was their last. That night changed everything. 10 years ago, Mila Ferguson left behind a devastating fire, a stolen kiss, and a shattered circle of friends in her hometown of Heart's Landing. But when a crisis brings her back, she just wants to get in and get out unscathed by her mother's constant criticism and unseen by her former crush, Everett McKean. Only Everett is everywhere. The town's attractive, beloved mayor has resisted settling down, but he's never stopped wondering about her. Having her back in Heart's Landing is the second chance he didn't think that he was waiting for, but now he doesn't want to waste it. As Mila slowly opens her heart to Everett and begins to rebuild her fractured friendship, she wonders if coming home is exactly what she needed. And there's more to the synopsis, but I don't want to bore you, but I think this sounds really good. All right, only have a handful more, so let's get through them. And this one I have already read, and this was Fast by Millie Belizaire, and this is an indie author, and this chronicles a character, what is her name? Caprice. This follows Caprice. You start at 8 when she is abused by a male in the house that she's sharing. And this is an adult male, so this is a very tough read. The author does an excellent job with it. Again, this is fiction, but she does a really good job of writing the story, and nothing is gratuitous. Nothing is in the story that you don't need. And but yeah, it is a childhood essay from her uncle, I think it is. But anyway, so it starts at 8 years old when this is taking place. It then picks up when she is 16, and you see how her life has changed. And then it picks up at 28, and you see her life as an adult. And this follows her and her childhood friend, and this was such an incredible read. This was my favorite book that I read in July, and is definitely going to be in my top 3 of 2026. So I can highly recommend this book. If you are in the right headspace, please check your trigger warnings. The author does an excellent job. She puts a full synopsis, she puts the trigger warning, she does everything in this book. So if you are interested, I can highly recommend this book. Another book I received as an ARC, but I absolutely loved it and I knew I wanted to own a physical copy. So I purchased a finished copy of Everything Was Beautiful and Nothing Hurt by Ben Reeves. This is his debut novel and it follows Travis, who is actually deaf. And it is just, I mean, I was literally sobbing in the first 5 pages of the book because Travis is deaf and he goes around doing his job, and it is just heartbreaking, and it's really tough. It's a short book, really impactful, really good. I would highly recommend it. Again, this is his debut and I think that's just astonishing in itself. But yeah, if you want to ugly cry, I can highly recommend this book. All right, so I picked up a finished copy, same thing. I received an ARC. So, again, this is A Ballad for the Broken by Hazel Wilkes. This is book 2. Requiem of Fallen Stars is the first book. It is so good. The character development, it's easy to follow. You will cry because the author breaks your heart because she just does things that you don't want to see happen to the characters, but this is so good. I don't want to read the synopsis for this in case you guys are interested in picking up book 1. I highly, highly recommend this series. Next is a book I have not read yet, but I'm intrigued, and because book 2 is coming out this fall, by Brie L. Mina, and this is Wrecked. It's the Weston Legacy story. Yeah, Weston Legacy novel. Sometimes your second chance is also your goodbye. And it says, fate is a fickle thing. It can lead you down a path of pain, or it can take you on a journey toward happiness. There is no equity in the unpredictable. Fate is inevitable. Not everyone is destined for a happy ending. Not every story will work out in the end. Not every love is meant to survive. And this essentially involves a plane crash, and I believe it is the sister's fiance and her survived this plane crash. I'm not really sure exactly what's going on, but this is, from my understanding, not a happy ending and a cliffhanger kind of book. So know that going in, but know that book 2 does come out later this year. So I'm excited to pick up Wrecked. Lastly are some classics and one that I consider a childhood classic. So we'll start with a childhood classic, and that is Stories to Tell in the Dark, 3 Books to Chill Your Bones. And this is by Alvin Schwartz. I read all these book series, Stories to Tell in the Dark, and more Stories to Tell in the Dark, and all of that. But this is an omnibus edition. So you have all 3 books in here, and it still has all the artwork from the original book. So I love these as a kid. I am looking forward to rereading them. I still think about the one where the girl had spider lay eggs in her cheeks. I will never forget that story. Yes, it is so gross. And I don't know why I read that as a child, because at my age, which I will not disclose, I still remember that book, and it was, oh God, it was so gross. But yeah, so I'm excited to reread these this fall. And then I picked up Lord of the Flies, and this is by William Golding. This was my favorite book that I read in high school as required reading. Piggy and all the boys, it is just wild, and this cover kind of sums up the book. So I'm excited to give this a reread as an adult because I really liked it as a high school kid. Lastly is Animal Farm and 1984. This is by George Orwell. Both books are in this. So I've already read Animal Farm. I read 1984, but I want to give it a reread, especially in the current times that we're in. But I am very excited to add this to my classics collection. The last things I want to go over are some bookish merch, and this I love, and it says members only antisocial book club. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a off-white color bag, and it's all embroidered, and the handles are forest green, just like the stitching on the bag. And I got that at TJ Maxx for $7.99. It was such a good bargain. If you guys can see my shirt, it's easily distracted by cats and books. And I got this at Pop Mart, or I don't remember what the store is called, but Pop Shelf. Pop Mart is all the blind box stuff. No, Pop Shelf is where I got this shirt. And it was like $5. I couldn't resist. It's super comfy and super cute. And I think that is everything. Not that that wasn't enough. This is going to be a long video with all these books, but thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And let me know if you've read any of these books and you think if I should prioritize any of them. All right, I'll see you next time, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video.